Welcome to Keep What You Earn, your judgment and jargon-free zone for entrepreneurs of all levels. Get ready to learn how to scale your business, save money in taxes, and create a business that grows your wealth. If it feels like the financial side of business is like eating your vegetables, well, then think of this podcast as the ranch dressing to make the process a little more enjoyable. My name is Shannon Weinstein. I'm a CPA and business owner on a mission to simplify money and empower others through knowledge. I hope this episode inspires you to take action, but remember that the information we share is for educational purposes only and is not individual tax advice. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start the show. So, in the spirit of this episode, I have to be honest with you. I originally had 3 facts I was going to share with you, what I call the 3 brutally honest facts about why your business is losing money. And I added a 4th one. So, so we are now in the 4 brutally honest facts about why your business is losing money. And, you know, sometimes these statements that I'm going to share with you are, tough love. Some of them are mindset reframes. Some of them are just the thing that you probably need to hear out loud that you might be kind of dancing around in your head and the voices in your head are trying to tell you, but tell you softly. And I'm going to give you the versions that I want to share that I think are true. And I'll be honest, I need to hear myself from time to time. So I need to hear them myself from time to time. And it's really important to see yourself in this, not beat yourself up if you feel like you're quote unquote guilty of any of these things. We all are, which is why it has made it to the episode because these are relevant because everybody struggles with them. So, number 1, this is actually my favorite. Your business is not meant to entertain you. Your business is not meant to entertain you. Now, can business be fun? Yes, I hope it is for you. But your business, the way you run a business, is designed to help you make money, to earn you money, so that you can then do things with it and spend your time as you so please. And actually, this kind of follows the philosophy that my dad taught me when I was younger. When my dad, you may have heard the story about how I lost a bet with my dad. I had to take an accounting class and I absolutely loved it. And when I was younger, I kept saying that I wanted to be an artist when I grew up. I loved to draw. And if you looked at my childhood sketchbooks, I was pretty good at drawing Disney characters, both from memory, but I used to pause the video and draw what I saw on the screen, almost like perfectly, mirror image of what that was. And that was a hobby of mine. And I said, I love art. I love drawing. I want to be an artist. And my dad pulled me aside and he said, okay, Shan, listen, hold on, time out. Let's think about this. And this was middle school, by the way, middle school. My dad pulled me aside and said, okay, I get that. You enjoy this. Good for you. Amazing. I'm so happy that you are happy doing these things. But let's be real. If you're not the best in the world at this, you're not going to be able to make a career out of it. And that was heartbreaking for me to hear. That was heartbreaking. And I said, but this is what I love to do. And he goes, okay, listen, bear with me. He's like, I know you're going to disagree with me, but think about this. If you instead chose to do a thing that made you a bunch of money, and I know that, especially when you're kids, like you're not really taught, like make the most money possible. We're taught that rich people were the villain. We're taught that rich people are evil or that, we don't want to be that person. But my dad said to me, if you make money and you make enough money to be comfortable doing something else that makes you that money, which art doesn't, by the way, as he told me, he said, well, if you make enough money, you can draw as many pictures as you want on the front patio of your beach house, period. You can take the time you want to go draw for fun. It won't be a job and it won't be the thing that pays your mortgage. You won't have to work your ass off by doing that in order to make money because you'll have a different skill. You'll have something that's more valuable in the workplace. And that really sunk in with me. I have this like vivid image in my head of me drawing on the porch of Cape Cod Beach House saying, I've made it because I made enough money that I can afford to come out here and draw just for fun. And, you know, that was a really cool image to have. And why this connects to my statement is that your business is not necessarily the thing that should bring you the most joy in how you spend your time. And although, you may be passionate about what you do, if there's a business opportunity If there's the chance that, you can create a business or you can have a business that is long lasting, but it may be in a boring area. Boring businesses tend to be the most cash flowing. And if you have the opportunity to, for example, buy a laundromat, buy a plumbing company for pennies on the dollar, if you have the opportunity to, get into business and attack an opportunity that's really huge in the marketplace and make a bunch of money, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you say no, because you go, "Ugh, it wouldn't be fun," then we have to really assess, what is your goal here? What is your goal? Because it's okay if your goal is not to make money. If your goal is to make money, then that is how you do it. You find a business, you sell things to people who need it, and you make money. And if you identify a need and an ability to serve that group of people, you now, of course, there's logistics and saying, it's not worth the effort, blah, 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 like where I am in my life, et cetera, et cetera. Of course. But if you're really being serious about building a business, you don't stop when it gets boring. The other story I wanted to share with you is a friend of mine who I met several years ago. She ran a very successful PR agency and she loved it. She was making a ton of money doing PR. And one day she came to me and said, "Look, I'm just really bored with this whole agency thing. I'm really bored with it. We're basically printing money. I'm basically out of the business. I'm really not getting involved anymore. And I'm just bored." And I'm like, this is when you double down. This is when you have a cash flowing asset on your hands right now. And you can basically package it and sell it. And she just didn't really want to do it anymore. She got bored. And that boredom started to show in the day-to-day operations. And it started to piece by piece lose value because it was starting to deteriorate until she basically walked away from it. And I don't want that for you. I want you to realize that when you see the potential for a business that could be long lasting, sustainable, and turn into a sellable asset, take that opportunity as much as you can, even if it is boring. It's not meant to entertain you. Your business is here to make you money, period. You can entertain yourself with all the money you make from the boring business. The other thing I want to share with you, number two, is you can't save your way to scaling. And this is born from this mentality that I've really shifted in the last couple of years. If you recall some of the earlier episodes of my podcast, my old content, I really leaned heavy into tax strategy as our service and as something I talked about a lot. And nothing has really changed about how tax strategy can help business owners. But I've adopted a very different mindset when it comes to tax strategy lately that I want to share with you in the context of this piece of advice. You can't save your way to scaling. Well, tax strategies, in a nutshell, help you recover cost. They don't help you make more money. So, yes, you take home more at the end of the day if you recover costs. Yes. Tax savings does help your bottom line. Yes. Okay, I'm not denying that. However, if you have a finite amount of time to spend on certain strategies, if you need to sit down tonight for 2 hours and your choices are to develop all the documentation you need to support hiring your kids in your business to save, we'll just say to take a couple of $14,000 deductions, AKA you're going to save, I'm just going to making up a number. Let's say you're going to save $5,000 by doing this strategy, $5,000 a year. Now, yes, in a vacuum, that's a great idea. But when you add up the hours it's going to take you to implement that strategy to save you $5,000, if you instead convert those hours that you were going to spend, say it's 3 hours a month to save $5,000 a year, if you took those 3 hours and relentlessly called leads, if you took those 3 hours and showed up to networking events, if you took those 3 hours and you sent emails to your email list, if you took those 3 hours and made content even, you may make more money than you're even saving when you think about the tax benefit. So instead of spending time on the things that are going to save you money and shrink you and make you smaller, spend your time, spend your money on the things that are going to make you bigger and to help you scale and earn so much that the taxes are insignificant. That is my new mentality. Is earn so much the taxes are insignificant. And of course, don't pay more than you're legally obligated to pay, blah, blah, blah. I know that. Like, don't come for me and say, oh, but tax savings is great. It is great. Tax savings is great. But there is a diminishing return to spending too much time focused on the tax savings elements of everything and to be making decisions in your business for the sake of taxes. You should just be operating your business that will make you the most money. Let's worry about taxes later. And if you're proactively managing, you should be able to plan that ahead of time. So you can't really save your way to scaling. Nobody ever said I was able to scale my business because of the Augusta rule. Nobody ever said I'm able to scale my business because I saved 20 grand in taxes or because I took bonus depreciation or I deducted my freaking G Wagon. Nobody is bragging about that when it comes to their growth. If you're spending your time on sales, marketing, and growing your revenue and growing your EBITDA to build a large sellable asset of a business, increasing value, then you're winning. And if you have to pay taxes, you have to pay taxes. It's part of the process. It's the cost of doing business. It's the cost of earning money. You got to give some to the US government. I know it sucks. I don't like it either, but it's the truth. Now, there's another one that I have, which is another hard truth, but I use a metaphor, use an analogy for this. And I say, you don't have to drive your Porsche to Target or Costco or whatever. You don't have to drive a Porsche. You don't have to drive the Aston Martin. You don't have to drive the McLaren to Target. By that, what I mean, and by all means, if you have one, cool, drive it wherever you want. What I'm saying proverbially is that when you're a business owner and you're starting out, a lot of people think they have to go buy, and it's no coincidence, they use this term, the Cadillac of, right? You have to buy the best and most elaborate solution for what you need. You need to go out and invest in the best things. You don't need to. So, in a particular example, I support a community of brand new entrepreneurs that a business coach hosts. And I serve as one of the coaches on the roster. And I watch these business owners every single cycle come through and they will debate, spending money on the thing, on like the couple $100 a month course platform or CRM system or whatever. And they say, is it worth it? Or QuickBooks, right? Or QuickBooks. And I say, well, here's the thing. You haven't made a sale yet. You don't even know who your client is yet. You don't even know like your EIN number yet. Like, time out. And here's the thing, you have absolute permission from me. And again, you never need permission from me, but you have it to go ahead and do the free shit. Like, I started an online course. Let me tell you, in 2019, I launched an online course. And you know what it was? It was a Dropbox folder that I gave access to manually. Why? Because realistically, 6 people bought my first course. They ended up in the program. I ended up, sharing this with them. I just shared a Dropbox. And what did I do? I recorded videos on Zoom or Loom, saved the videos in there and said, go watch them. And then I would give them sort of homework assignments that I drafted up in Google Docs. Guess what? That was all free. All of that service was free. Everything. Now, there are people paying hundreds of dollars for a fancy course platform per month. And I said, hey, I ain't spending the money to implement the new software solution until I can prove I can make money with the offer. If the value is in there, for example, if the perfume smells good and people will buy it, then I will worry about making the packaging pretty. Because ultimately, if the perfume does not smell good, it doesn't matter what the hell bottle I put it in. So get down to the nitty gritty of strip away all the stuff, all the glamour, all the superficial, all the pretty things. Strip away all that. Are you adding value? If you were to post your social media content, if you were to take your website, if you were to take any of the copy that you write, and it was simply Times New Roman black on white, would it add value? If not, rethink what you're doing and fix that first. It doesn't matter what the packaging looks like. So when I say you don't need to drive your Porsche to Target, what I mean is you don't need to be investing in the biggest, best, and most pretty vehicle to deliver your message in your early stages of business. Stay at your level, work your way up, and prove that your offer is worthwhile and that your offer will sell and that it will generate money to justify spending more money on the bigger, better thing and reward yourself with that. One little anecdote here is I didn't have a website for my first year and a half. I rewarded myself with a website when I crossed my first 10K in sales. So do something like that. Give yourself permission to make sales and then use those sales to fund. Use your operations to fund the next big thing instead of your capital that you're bringing in because you want to make sure you're earning it. And then finally, this is the one I added in, mostly inspired by the fact that I just got back from a workshop at acquisition.com headquarters in Nevada. And if you don't know acquisition.com, it is the company owned by Alex and Layla Hormozy. And we had the privilege of working with their team. I will be doing a recap episode at some point on what we learned. My clients are getting an inside peek into what I learned and sharing it and passing it on to them from a concept standpoint. And what I think is really powerful about that experience that we had was we got to see Alex do a keynote. The subject of the keynote was around work and what work means. And I'll let him explain it on his YouTube, obviously, because he is a master at that. And I'm sure hopefully it will air by the time this airs. But we had the opportunity to watch this keynote, and it really reminded me of something that I had to add on to this list. And that work is not simply you passing time thinking about working. This was one point that he made in the overall presentation that really sunk in with me. And we all feel guilty of this from time to time, but you sitting and thinking about work is using the brain calories that you would have spent if you were just working. And the difference is that you're not really getting any output out of it. So if you're sitting there and you're listening, now that doesn't mean don't listen to podcasts or don't listen to Audible. I'm saying listen to these things and go do it. If you're not changing your behavior after reading a book, if you're not changing your behavior after a podcast episode, if you're not going in and doing and implementing the stuff that you're learning, then you're simply passing time. And it's no different than you are watching Netflix. It is no different than if you were watching Netflix. That hit home for me when Alex said that. Like, you might as well have your ass on the couch watching Netflix if you're not doing the stuff you're learning. Oof. Right? So consuming the new knowledge is nothing unless you're going and doing it. I think we know that fundamentally, but we need to put it into practice more often. And, it can get you excited because you get this like kind of dopamine hit of learning something new and feeling like you're successful. But in reality, what's happening is you're getting that little hit, but you haven't actually done anything. And, it's if I watch an exercise video, but I don't do the exercise, am I getting the benefit? No, no. If I plug in a Zumba DVD, I'm not getting the benefit unless I get my ass off the couch. Same goes for you. So when you are consuming content, I want you to really consider, what can I extract from this of value? What can I go do with this piece of information? And if it's not clear or you're clear on it and it's something productive, then maybe we should unfollow that account for now or for a period of time. Or maybe we should limit the consumption of that type of content, to non-work hours, and just to focus on, this is what we need to be doing, and we need to be moving forward toward our goals during the certain times of the day when you're most productive. I just think that we're spending a lot of time thinking about work and spending a lot of time convincing ourselves that we're working, but in reality, we're really not. We're really doing productive work a very small portion of the day, but we've somehow convinced ourselves that we're working nonstop just by looking at the computer or just by being in the presence of the email and drafting a long ass response. We're spending a lot of time on stuff that doesn't need to take that long. And that's a key thing that I took away from Alex's presentation, but that I really kind of reflected on and said, there's a lot of stuff and a lot of extra fat to trim on the calendar for sure. So again, these are my sort of 4 brutally honest facts about why you're probably losing money in your business. And as you can tell, none of them are specifically around how you're spending or how you're earning money. Go figure. It's how you're managing your time. It's how you're managing your mindset. It's how you are approaching your business from the standpoint of your goals and how you're going to accomplish them. That's really what it comes down to, your commitment to building a sustainable, sellable business. And if you're thinking, well, I don't necessarily want to scale a business, I don't necessarily want to sell the business yet, then your desire right now is to spend time working in the business. And that is okay, especially if you're early stage. But ask yourself this: when the time comes, when my intentions evolve, because you probably felt this way with past jobs that you've been to or if you've worked in. If you get to the point where you go, I'm kind of tired, I don't really want to do this anymore. I need to hire myself back in the business. I need to hire a new me to run it, and I need to get out. Chances are you're on the path to either scaling it to the point where you can operate it remotely and quietly, or you're going to exit. Those are really the 2 outcomes that make the most sense. So if that's the case, then wouldn't you want to build the business that gives you the choice between those two things? Wouldn't you want to build the business that makes the most sense to do either of those things with? Because hey, a business worth selling is also worth keeping. Because chances are a business worth selling is a cash flowing asset that you own, that belongs to you. So keep that in mind as you grow, and then keep that in mind on the decisions you make on a daily basis. Just like all of these things I shared with you today, these are some of the core truths as to why maybe your business isn't valuable just yet, but it definitely will be. I have faith in you.
One of the things that holds people back from starting their business and going all in on it to grow it is this hesitation around setting it up properly or cleaning things up to make sure everything is legally and compliantly sound. Between setting up the actual business legally and knowing how to manage the money, there's a lot that can intimidate somebody and scare them into not starting. And that's why I bundled up my 5 best resources all together for brand new business owners or for anyone who's looking to clean things up. This is my 5-day mindset refresh because it always starts with mindset. And my business financial quick starter, which is my starter course for anyone looking to start a business with all the key elements you need to do in order. My tax deduction guide with hundreds of deductions you can take for your business today. My Money Pro matchmaker on how to find the right professional for you. And my cash flow forecasting mini course. This is the ultimate Swiss Army knife. It includes tools and templates, everything you need to get started on your business successfully or clean things up if you feel like you've fallen behind. Grab your copy right now. The Small Business Starter Kit is yours for free using the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and review on your podcast platform. This small action goes a long way for podcasters to get our message heard by more business owners just like you. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to information about our guests and ways to get in touch with me. We'll see you on the next episode.